And would you like to know which card won the poll? Drum roll, that one. Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Last week I held a poll for my Instagram and Facebook followers, and they could choose between these two cards, and as I said, this one is the winner. Stick around and I can show you how you can make it. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks, because in this card I thought of a method to colour the windows, and I'm going to show you how you could do that, because the stump makes the windows dark, but I like the ones with, well, the yellow lamplight better. So I'm going to show you how to make this card. There are a couple of supplies that you need. You want some Misty Moonlight cardstock. This is 11 inches by 4 1/8, which you score at 5.5. 28 centimeters by 10.5, scored at 14 centimeters. You need a basic white mat, which is 5 inches by 3 5/8, 12.7 by 9.2 centimeters. You need a label cut from some scrap. You need one of those things. I have no idea what they would be called. I wouldn't know the Dutch name either. But you know, when you have labels, you can strengthen them with these little rings, so I'll just call it a strengthener. And you need a scrap of paper to make your other label, and you want a scrap of paper to make a mask. So first I'm going to score this card, and oops, I've managed to almost lose my little strengthener. It's upset probably because I don't know what it's called. Okay, so you're going to score this at 5.5 inches. Now if you work in letter, your cardstock will be 11 by 8.5, and this is an A4 piece of cardstock, which is 11 inches by 8.25. Now if you work in letter, you could definitely cut your cardstock at 4.25. Then your mat would be just a bit bigger. Your mat would be 3 3/4 instead of 3 5/8. But don't worry, you can read about all the measurements on my blog, and the link to my blog is in the description box below. So I'm going to score this card first of all at 5.5 inches to get that out of the way. And you fold it, and with your bone folder you make sure you get a nice crease. First I'm going to stamp on my mat, and I just need something to stamp on because I'm going to stamp over the edges. The ink that I'm using for this is Smoky Slate, and the other ink is Misty Moonlight. And I haven't shown you the stamp set yet, have I? No, I forgot, sorry. It's Classic Cloche, and I've used this sentiment and then these 3 stamps. There are loads of possibilities with this stamp set, but this card is about these stamps. So, I'm inking up, and then I'm going to start somewhere in the middle, and I've put it on my grid paper to have a line there, and I'm going to stamp more or less along that line to keep my stamps straight. And any areas which are just too white, I just stamp on them again. This mat, by the way, is just 1/2 inch smaller than the base card, so you get a nice wide border. Now then, for the labels. First I'm going to, well, I already cut this label, you could see that. And then I'm going to stamp on this piece of cardstock, and I'm using my Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to stamp off as well. So let me get my paper back in. This piece is, let me just think, 2.25 by 4.25 inches. And first, oh, I've stuck my stamps together. First I'm going to use this one, can you see? And I'm stamping full strength. somewhere towards the bottom and roughly in the middle, as much in the middle as you can get it. And then I'm going to use this one where you can see the clouds, and I'm going to stamp off. So I'm inking up well, and I stamp off on my paper. And now these windows are coloured. If you want to keep them that way, that's fine. You'll have dark windows. If you want to make them lit up, then you use a cotton bud, which I've just wet with my stamping mist. And then I'm going to, oh, it's a bit wet, let me just dry it off a bit, so. And I'm going to hold it into the light, and then I'm going to remove the ink from some of the windows, those that I can reach without taking away any of the blue where I do want it. This should do it. Here. I'm going to huff on my stamp to re-moisten it, and I'm going to stamp this on top of that, and I'm using the windows to line it up. So you have to look very carefully, and now of course I've removed the ink from the window, so it's going to be a bit more difficult, so maybe you'll see my head in view, but I'm trying to line this stamp up as best as I can, so I look for all the windows. So I'm going to huff on it to re-moisten the stamp, and then I'm going to look from the top and make sure that all these windows align. I hope this is okay. Oh, perfect. Then I'm going to use my smoky slate ink, and I'm going to colour in the walls of the houses. That's this stamp. I'm not sure if you can see. And again I'm stamping off just once, and again I'm using the windows to align. So I'm looking at all these windows from the top and then push down, and now the walls of the houses have this nice grey colour, and I can use my stamping blend. This is the dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm colouring some of the windows. So there's somebody at home. Now, I've used the dies that, let me put that over there, do you want it open? I've used this die to make my mask. This is the one. And so I stamped my image, and I did the second stamp, then I die cut it, and I've drawn a line there. I think you can see that, because I want to do my blending of the ink above that line. So I'm going to put it on top of the image, and then I'm moving it up a bit. Then you create a nice white border around it. Then I want my blending brush, ink it up. I've just re-inked my stamp pad, so I'm going to be very careful. Don't want to over ink it. And you see I'm just staying above that line that I've drawn. Now this may not look like much, but if you lift it carefully, you can see that there's already quite a lot of ink on there. So I'm just going to smooth it out towards the top now. Then I'm going to cut this, and I've used the tailor-made tags to cut the labels. This is the one with the boxy top and the biggest one of those four, and you put it on, and well, you just look if you want a lot of snow at the bottom, if you want less snow at the bottom. I think this will be okay, and I want it in the middle, so something like that. Okay, I'm going to die cut this, and when I've done that, I'll be back. So the base card, the two labels, of course you have to attach this one. You could put it on some adhesive sheets, of course, but, well, in my case I just thought it would be okay to use some glue. Now this is my multi-purpose liquid glue. I've just decanted it into a bottle with a really small nozzle. If you want to, you can add a little star. I have these really dainty stars which I've die cut with the Christmas trees dies. Here they are. But if you have a star embellishment, it will work as well. But I did want a small star because, well, you don't want your stars bigger than your church, for example. At least I don't. These I have put on adhesive sheets, so attaching them is easier. So just remove the backing and then you can add the star. Make sure it sticks. Then you attach, before you do so, you put some baker's twine through. This is from the Flowers for Every Season, and you need about 3 inches. Where are my scissors? 3 inches is just a bit too long, but you will want to trim it once it's on your card. So you push them in, and then you pull them through the loop. Oh, I want it the other way around. I always forget this. So I want them pushed through back to front, because I want the loop to go over the 2 ends. It would have been easier if I had made my piece of twine a bit longer. This is what you do when your when your baker's twine is just too short. Right, then I can attach this one to that label, and then on the back of this I'm putting dimensionals. I've put my label in the middle, and my bits of baker's twine are not too long, so I'll just give them a tiny snip, and that's the card finished. Now for the bonus cards, I'll show you this one again, and while I was making it, I discovered that for this one it would be a nice look as well if you put it on at a slant. With this one I just put it on straight. You see the difference? So trying things out may result in a different card, and you can also make smaller cards. These are cute as well. Look at these, aren't they sweet? This is just very simple, just some white trees, which I've also cut with the classic cloche dies. Here you have all these little trees. You can cut several in one go. Here I've left them. Oh gosh, no, I forgot something with my card. You want Wink of Stella. You want snow, don't you? So I'm colouring Wink of Stella. And you must be forgetting something. I was thinking, what am I forgetting? I couldn't think of it. Now I know, because I just saw the Wink of Stella on the other cards. Sorry about that. Some snow at the bottom as well. Snowy landscape. Some here behind the houses. Now I know that the Wink of Stella doesn't show up really well on camera, but it is there. And if you see the card for real, it makes it just extra bit more gorgeous. So now my card is finished. Sorry about that. Here you have some more cards. This is just trees which I've coloured with Wink of Stella. Here I've used a blending brush to make the sky. Here I've coloured the trees with a Stampin' Blend, and here I've added a piece of baker's twine. So there's lots of possibilities to make your cards. If you like my video, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a like. It really helps me to grow my channel, so thank you. And these are the cards. Lots of ideas. Oh, thank you very much for watching. Oh, and please have a look at the suggested videos there. Thank you. Bye.